My husband secretly signed our house over to his mother. I found the forged deed in his desk. I'm still living here. I'm still paying the mortgage. I don't know what to do. I need to write this out because if I don't, I think I'm going to lose my mind. I've typed and deleted this 4 times. My hands are shaking. I don't even know if this is the right subreddit. I just need someone who understands the law to tell me what I'm looking at here, because my whole life shifted sideways last Tuesday and I can't get it to shift back. I'm Dana. I'm 34. I work as an office manager at a dental practice here in Boise. I make $48,000 a year. It's not glamorous, but I'm good at it. I run the scheduling, handle the insurance claims, manage the front desk staff. I've been there 5 years. I'm reliable. That's the word my boss uses in every review. Reliable. I need you to know that about me because I need you to understand that I'm not a dramatic person. I don't post on the internet about my marriage. I don't call my mother crying every time my husband and I argue about whose turn it is to unload the dishwasher. I handle things. I manage. That's what I do. But I cannot manage this. My husband is Scott. He's 37. He's a plumber for a local company, a good one, been there almost a decade. He makes $73,000 a year. We've been married for 8 years. We have a daughter named Lily. She's 6. She just lost her first tooth 3 weeks ago and she put it under her pillow in a tiny envelope she decorated with stickers because she wanted the tooth fairy to know it was a special delivery. That's the kind of kid she is. In 2019, we bought a house together. A 3-bedroom split-level on West Ustic Road in Meridian. We paid $289,000 for it. We saved for 2 years to make the down payment. I contributed $18,000 from my savings, money I'd put away since my mid-20s, money I earned answering phones and filing claims and staying late to fix billing errors. Scott put in $24,000 from his. Together, $42,000 down. Both our names on the mortgage. Both our names on the deed. That house is worth about $435,000 now. We've put work into it. Scott redid the guest bathroom himself. I painted every room. Lily's bedroom has lavender walls and a bookshelf shaped like a tree that Scott built for her 3rd birthday. We planted a dogwood in the backyard the spring after we moved in. It's taller than me now. I'm telling you all of this because I need you to understand that this house isn't an asset on a spreadsheet. It's where my daughter takes baths and reads books and practices her lines for the school play she's in on Friday. She's playing a sunflower. She has 3 lines and she's been rehearsing them in the bathroom mirror every night for 2 weeks. Okay. Here's what happened. Last Tuesday. It was an ordinary Tuesday. Lily was at her after-school program. I got home before Scott. I needed our car insurance card because I had a dentist appointment for myself. Ironic, I know, the office manager at the dental practice going to a different dentist, but that's a whole other story, and the new insurance cards hadn't come in the mail yet. I thought maybe Scott had a copy in his desk. Scott has a home office. It's the small bedroom at the back of the house. He keeps his work stuff there, invoices, truck maintenance records, some of his hunting magazines. I don't go in there often. Not because it's off-limits or because he told me not to. I just don't have a reason to. He has his space, I have mine. That felt normal to me. That felt like a healthy marriage. I opened the top drawer. Pens, a tape measure, some coupons for an oil change place. Second drawer. File folders. I flipped through them looking for anything labeled insurance or auto. And then I found a manila folder labeled mom stuff. I almost didn't open it. I nearly put it back. I thought it was something related to Patricia's finances, maybe tax documents or something Scott was helping her with. Scott helps his mom with a lot. She went through a brutal divorce from his dad about 4 years ago. His dad, Greg, is not a good person. I'm not going to get into that here, but the divorce was ugly and Patricia came out of it with almost nothing. She lives in a small apartment in Nampa now. She's 63. She works part-time at a craft supply store. She doesn't have retirement savings to speak of. It's a sad situation, and I've always felt for her. I've always been kind to her. I've brought Lily over to visit her every other weekend. I've included her in holidays. She's my daughter's grandmother. I opened the folder. Inside was a quitclaim deed, dated 7 months ago, transferring ownership of our house, 100% ownership of 3-bedroom split-level on West Ustic Road, Meridian, Idaho, to Patricia and Kessler, Scott's mother. Scott had signed it. His signature was right there, the same way he signs birthday cards and checks and the permission slip I handed him last week for Lily's field trip to the aquarium. And my signature was there too. Except I never signed it. I have never seen this document before. I was never asked about this document. I was never consulted, informed, warned, or given any indication that my husband was planning to transfer the deed to our home to his mother. I did not sign my name. Someone else did. And it was notarized. There was a notary stamp on it. From a notary in Caldwell, Idaho. Beneath the deed was a handwritten letter. Patricia's handwriting. I recognize it from birthday cards and the little notes she tucks into Lily's Christmas presents. It said, "Thank you for doing the right thing, Scotty. I know this wasn't easy. You're a good son. Love, Mom." Beneath that was a printed email from the notary's office confirming the filing. I sat down on the office floor. I sat there for 20 minutes. I know it was 20 minutes because I looked at the clock on the wall when I sat down and I looked at it again when I finally stood up. In those 20 minutes I held that piece of paper and I felt my hands go numb and I thought, very clearly, my husband gave away my house and forged my name to do it. Then I did the only smart thing I've done all week. I took photos of everything. Every page in the folder. The deed. The letter. The email. Front and back. I put the folder back exactly where I found it. And I closed the drawer. Update 1. The confrontation. I waited until after Lily went to bed that night. I made dinner. I sat across the table from Scott and watched him eat the chicken I made and listened to him talk about a job he had that day, a burst pipe in some old building downtown, and I thought, you're sitting here eating dinner in a house you gave away. You're talking to me about pipes while you forged my signature on a legal document. I've never felt that kind of quiet before. It wasn't peace. It was something colder. At 9:15, after Lily was asleep, I sat down on the couch next to him. He was watching something on his phone. I said his name and he looked up and I said, "I found the quitclaim deed." His face went white. Not slowly. Instantly. Like someone had pulled a plug and drained every drop of color from his skin. He set his phone down and he didn't say anything for about 10 seconds, and in those 10 seconds I watched him cycle through something. I think it was calculation. I think he was calculating what to say. Then he got angry. Not screaming angry. Not throwing things angry. Scott's never been that kind of person, and I want to be fair about that even now. But his jaw set and his voice dropped and he said, "My mom almost lost her house in the divorce from my dad. She has nothing, Dana. She's 63 years old with no retirement. I put the house in her name so she'd have security. So she'd know she had something. It's still our house. We still live here. Nothing changes. It's just on paper." I stared at him. "You forged my signature on a legal document," I said. "You transferred ownership of our home to your mother without telling me. Without asking me. You put someone else's name on the thing we bought together, the thing I pay $1,247 a month toward, the house where our daughter sleeps. And you're telling me nothing changes." "You're overreacting," he said. He said that to me. "You're overreacting. Mom would never kick us out," he said. "She's not like that. She just needs to know she has something. Something that's hers. After what Dad did to her, you know what he did. You know how bad it was. I was going to tell you. I was going to explain everything. When the time was right. It's been 7 months, Scott." He didn't have an answer for that. He rubbed his face with his hands and leaned back on the couch and said, "I knew you'd react like this. That's why I didn't tell you." And I sat there and thought, so you knew this was wrong. You knew I would object. And you did it anyway. And you forged my name because you knew I wouldn't give it willingly. I slept in Lily's room that night. Lily was sprawled sideways in her bed, one arm hanging off the edge, mouth open. I lay on the floor next to her bed on a blanket and stared at the ceiling of the house that apparently belongs to my mother-in-law, and I didn't sleep at all. Update 2, Morgan. I called my best friend Morgan at 11 p.m. I know that's late. I didn't care. Morgan is a paralegal at a family law firm here in Boise. She's been doing this for 9 years. She's seen things I can't imagine. She's the kind of person who speaks carefully and means every word and never says something she can't back up. I told her everything. I was sitting in my car in the garage with the door closed because I didn't want Scott to hear me. It was cold. I could see my breath. Morgan was quiet for a long time after I finished. Then she said, "Dana, he forged your signature on a deed. That's a felony." She said it plainly. Not dramatically. Not to shock me. She said it the way she'd say, "That's a stop sign," or "That's a red light." "I'm not saying this as your friend right now," she said. I'm saying this as someone who works in the legal system every single day. What Scott did is forgery. It is a crime. And beyond the criminal aspect, that deed is almost certainly voidable because your consent was never given. But you need to move fast. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect Lily. She told me to gather documentation. Financial records. Mortgage statements. The photos of the deed and the letter and the email. Anything showing my contributions to the house, the down payment, the monthly payments, receipts from improvements. She told me to open a bank account in my own name if I didn't have one, which I didn't because Scott and I have always had joint accounts and I never thought twice about that until right now. You also need to consider, Morgan said carefully, that if Patricia's name is on the deed and she decides, or someone convinces her, to sell the house or take a loan against it, you could be in serious trouble. You're paying a mortgage on a property you no longer legally own, Dana. That's not just unfair. That's a financial emergency. I hadn't thought about that. I'd been so stuck on the betrayal, on the forgery, that I hadn't followed the thread to its end. If Patricia owns the house, Patricia can sell the house. Patricia can take out a home equity line of credit on the house. Patricia can lose the house if she gets into debt or has a judgment against her. My daughter's lavender bedroom with a tree bookshelf is collateral for a woman who works part-time at a craft supply store in Nampa and has no retirement savings. I sat in my cold car and I cried. Not pretty crying. The kind where your whole body gets involved and you can't breathe and you feel like something inside you is being physically torn. I cried like that for about 5 minutes and then I stopped and I wiped my face and I said, "What do I do first?" Morgan said, "I'll get you an appointment with one of the attorneys at my firm. Tomorrow if I can." Update 3. Patricia's phone call. Scott and I have barely spoken since Tuesday night. We move around each other in the house like two people sharing an elevator, aware of each other's presence, careful not to touch. Lily hasn't noticed yet, or if she has, she hasn't said anything. She's consumed with her school play. She practices her 3 lines constantly. In the car. At dinner. Walking to the bus stop. I'm a sunflower and I follow the sun. She says it with her whole body, arms stretched out, face tilted up. It breaks my heart in a way I can't fully explain. I'm still making the mortgage payment. $1,247 a month. Due on the 1st. It autodrafts from our joint account. I'm paying for a house I don't legally own. Every time I think about that, I feel something in my chest that I can only describe as a slow internal scream. Yesterday, Patricia called me. I saw her name on my phone and I almost didn't answer. But some part of me needed to hear what she would say. Some part of me needed to know whether she understood what she was part of. "Sweetie," she said. Her voice was warm. It was the same voice she uses when she tells Lily bedtime stories about princesses and talking animals. "I know Scott told you about the house. I just want you to know, this doesn't change anything between us. You're still my daughter-in-law. I love you and Lily. I just needed peace of mind after what your father-in-law did to me. You understand that, don't you?" I stood in my kitchen, where I've made hundreds of meals, where Lily learned to crack eggs, where I hung a framed print of a lemon that says, "When life gives you lemons," because I thought it was funny, and I listened to this woman explain to me why it was okay that she accepted a stolen deed to my home. She called it peace of mind. She has peace of mind. I haven't slept in 4 days. I couldn't speak. My throat closed up. I said, "I have to go," and I hung up. And then I stood there holding my phone and I thought, she knew. She knew my signature was forged. She had to know. You don't receive a deed to a house your son co-owns with his wife and not ask, "Did Dana agree to this?" You don't write a thank you letter that says, "I know this wasn't easy," without understanding that something difficult, something wrong, was done to make it happen. She knew. And she took it anyway. And she called me, "Sweetie." Update 4. The attorney. Morgan got me an appointment. Thursday morning. I told my boss I had a dentist appointment. The irony isn't lost on me. And I drove to a law office in downtown Boise and I sat in a conference room with a cup of coffee I didn't drink and I told a family law attorney named Karen Westbrook everything I just told you. Karen is in her late 50s. Short gray hair. Reading glasses on a chain. She listened without interrupting. She took notes on a yellow legal pad. When I was done, she set her pen down and looked at me and said, "You have several layers of legal protection here. Let me walk you through them." She explained that in Idaho, a quitclaim deed requires the genuine signature of every person on the title. If my signature was forged, the deed is voidable. Not void automatically, I would need to take legal action to challenge it, but the law is clear that a forged instrument does not convey valid title. She explained that forgery of a legal document is a felony in Idaho. I have the option, not the obligation, but the option, to file a criminal complaint. She was careful to separate this from the civil issues. The criminal side and the property side are two different tracks, she said. You can pursue one or both. But you need to understand that if you file a criminal complaint against your husband, that will have consequences for your family that go beyond the house. I know that, and it sits on my chest like a concrete block. She explained that I should file what's called a lease pendens, a notice that the property is subject to a legal dispute, which would be recorded with the Ada County Recorder's Office and would effectively prevent Patricia from selling the house or borrowing against it while the dispute is active. This is your most urgent protection, Karen said. Right now, as things stand, Patricia could theoretically sell that house tomorrow. She could take out a HELOC. She could encumber it in ways that would be very difficult to unwind. The lease pendens puts a freeze on all of that. She explained that I need to document my financial contributions to the house. Every mortgage payment. Every dollar of the $18,000 down payment. Every home improvement receipt. Every property tax payment. This creates an evidentiary record that protects my equitable interest in the property regardless of what the deed says. She explained that I should open an individual bank account immediately and begin directing my paycheck there. Not as a hostile act. Not as a prelude to divorce. As basic financial self-protection. Right now, she said, you're depositing your income into a joint account with a man who has demonstrated that he is willing to make major financial decisions without your knowledge or consent. That is not safe. I sat in that conference room and I listened to this woman lay out my options, and I felt two things simultaneously. Relief that there were options, and grief that I needed them. 8 years. 8 years of marriage and Saturday morning pancakes and coaching Lily's soccer team and planting a dogwood tree in the backyard, and now I'm sitting in a lawyer's office learning about lease pendens filings because my husband forged my name. Karen asked me what I wanted. Not legally, personally. What outcome did I want? I said, I want my house back in my name. I want my daughter to be safe. And I want to understand how my husband became someone who would do this. She nodded like that was a reasonable answer and said, let's start with the first two. Update 5. Where I am now. It's Sunday. Lily's school play was Friday. She was magnificent. I'm not just saying that because I'm her mother. She was genuinely wonderful. She stood on that little stage in a green t-shirt with felt petals glued around the collar, and she said her 3 lines loud and clear, and she beamed at the audience, and I sat in the folding chair in the second row and I clapped until my hands stung, and I did not cry. Not once, because she was watching and she deserved a mother who was smiling. Scott was there too. He sat next to me. We didn't speak. We clapped at the same times. We laughed when the kid playing the rain cloud forgot his line. From the outside, we looked like a normal couple watching their kid's school play. From the inside, I was sitting next to a stranger. Here's where things stand. I opened my own bank account on Thursday afternoon. I redirected my direct deposit from work. I also withdrew my half of our emergency fund, which was $4,200. I don't feel good about it, but Karen told me it was essential and Morgan agreed, and I trust them more than I trust my own instincts right now because my instincts apparently couldn't tell me that my husband was forging my signature. Karen filed the lease pendens on Friday morning. It's now recorded with the Ada County Recorder. This means Patricia cannot sell the house, refinance it, or take any loan against it. The property is legally flagged as being in dispute. Karen said Patricia and Scott will both be notified, likely by early next week. I have not filed a criminal complaint. Not yet. Karen explained the process. I would go to the Boise Police Department or the Canyon County Sheriff's Office, depending on where the forgery was notarized, and file a report. The notary in Caldwell is in Canyon County. The forgery itself, wherever Scott actually signed the document, could be Ada County. Karen said this is something we can address once we determine all the facts. I'm not ready to do that yet. I know some of you will tell me I should. I know that legally, what Scott did is a felony, and every day I don't report it is a day I'm choosing not to pursue justice. But this is my daughter's father. This is the man who built a bookshelf shaped like a tree. This is the man who taught Lily to ride a bike last summer and ran behind her holding the seat for 3 blocks. I'm not protecting him. I'm trying to figure out how to protect Lily from the fallout of whatever I do next. I have also not told Scott about the attorney or the lease pendens. He will find out soon enough. He's been trying to act normal around the house, making coffee, asking Lily about school, leaving his work boots by the back door like he always does. But he watches me now in a way he didn't before. He watches me like he's waiting for the next thing to happen. He should be. I've started keeping a journal. Karen suggested it. She said to write down everything: conversations with Scott, conversations with Patricia, financial transactions, dates and times. She said this kind of contemporaneous documentation can be crucial if things escalate. I bought a black composition notebook from the Target on Eagle Road and I write in it every night after Lily goes to bed. I sit in the kitchen with the overhead light on and I write down what happened that day and what was said and how I felt, and I close the notebook and I put it in my purse and I go to the bedroom where my husband is either asleep or pretending to be asleep, and I lie down next to him and I stare at the ceiling. Patricia called again yesterday. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. She said, "Dana, honey, I just want to talk. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Call me when you can. Love you." A misunderstanding. She has the deed to my house, and she's calling it a misunderstanding. I need to talk about something that's been eating at me since Tuesday. It's the thing I can't get past, the thing that sits underneath all the legal questions and the property disputes and the lease pendants filings. It's this. Scott didn't just forge my signature. He made a decision about our family's most valuable asset, the single largest financial investment of my life, without telling me. He looked at our house and he saw something he could give away. He looked at my name on a deed and he saw something he could fake. He looked at our marriage and he calculated that the risk of getting caught was worth it if it meant his mother would feel secure. What does that tell me about how he sees me? What does that tell me about what I am in this marriage? I contributed $18,000 to the down payment. I pay $1,247 every single month. I painted every room. I hung the curtains. I chose the tile in the kitchen. And my husband looked at all of that and thought, I can sign her name and she'll never know. He didn't see me as a partner. He saw me as a problem to be worked around. That's what I can't get past. Not the house. Not the money. The way he erased me from a decision about my own life. So here I am. It's Sunday night in Meridian, Idaho. My daughter is asleep in her lavender bedroom. My husband is in the garage doing something with his tools. My mother-in-law is in her apartment in Nampa holding a voided deed she doesn't know is voided yet. And I'm sitting at my kitchen table typing this on my laptop and wondering how I got here. I have a few specific legal questions. Is the lease pendants enough to protect me for now, or should I be taking additional steps to secure my interest in the property? If I decide to pursue criminal charges for the forgery, what does that process look like in Idaho? Will Scott be arrested? What happens to Lily if both parents are? I can't even finish that thought. The notary in Caldwell who notarized the forged deed, do they have liability here? Can they be reported? If they notarized a signature I never gave, they either didn't verify my identity or they knowingly participated in the forgery. If Scott and I do end up separating or divorcing over this, how does the forged deed affect property division? Does the fact that he attempted to transfer the house to his mother before a divorce filing work against him? Should I be worried about Patricia doing something rash when she finds out about the lease pendants? Like trying to change the locks or claiming she has a right to occupy the house? I know this is long. I'm sorry. I don't have anyone to talk to about this except Morgan, and Morgan has been incredible, but she's also my friend and she gets angry on my behalf, and sometimes I need someone who isn't angry. I need someone who can see this clearly. I'm going to go check on Lily. She kicked her covers off again. She always does. Then I'm going to close this laptop and put it away and go lie in bed next to my husband and pretend to be asleep. If you read all of this, thank you. Thank you for knowing. Edit. Several people have asked if I've checked whether the deed was actually recorded with the county. Yes, Karen confirmed that it was recorded with the Ada County Recorder's Office. It's not just a piece of paper in a folder. It's been filed. The transfer is on public record. My name was removed from the title of my home 7 months ago and I had no idea until last Tuesday. I found out by accident, looking for a car insurance card. If I hadn't opened that drawer, I might never have known. Edit 2. I want to be clear about something because a few comments have suggested it. I am not trying to destroy Scott. I'm not out for revenge. I'm not trying to send him to prison to punish him. I'm a 34-year-old woman who manages a dental office and makes school lunches and helps her daughter practice her lines for a play about sunflowers. I'm just trying to make sure that I still own my home. That's it. That's all I want. I want the house that I paid for, that I live in, that I painted and cleaned and made into a home. I want it to be mine again. I want my name back on the deed. And I want to understand what kind of marriage I'm in, because the one I thought I had ended last Tuesday in a home office with a manila folder and a forged signature. I'll update when I have more to share. For now, I'm going to go check on my sunflower.